Welcome everybody to a review of Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition. I was able to play this game thanks to Sony from uh, Play at Home because of the virus. There are two disclaimers. I'm far from being a professional at reviewing and some other stuff. And the other disclaimer, this is a personal opinion which you might disagree upon. Normally, stuff like that doesn't bother me. If it's good, if it's well done, so be it. I'm not going to be picky. But if it's something that is not going to fit, or if it's going to be ripped off, then it's going to bother me. And I'll say ripped off because during some times the game was ruined because there was this one soundtrack that was identical to Uncharted. While I don't exactly have the sound clip, I'm very well aware that both Naughty Dog and the creators of this game falls underneath Sony and probably have the same soundtrack archive. Let's start with creativity. There are these creatures, or rather robots, giraffe-looking creatures. They act like the Ubisoft towers from Assassin's Creed. They will reveal the map to you. And you also have to climb them all the way, from the bottom to the top. Come on. And same with the Uncharted soundtrack. Now, graphics. I personally do not give two shits about graphics, but I did see something. It gave me the early PlayStation 4 vibes. And you know, it might have been during that period when this game was released. I'm not sure. I'm just doing a bad review. There's also some of the weird cutscenes where the main protagonist goes to sleep, and then there's this random NPC just looking at her. I'm not going to sleep if someone does that. Sometimes the dialogue between characters are also kinda off. But then again, all models, all characters look way too young. The old people look old, obviously, but everybody else looks either in their teens, or in their 20s, and that's just off-putting because their skin is either too smooth. It's like flawless skin. Last thing I should add, the world building and the theme of it all, the world building is nice. The theme of the game and all, it's questionable for sure. Fighting is fun, that's for sure. But maybe the lack of creativity jumps in as well. Because sometimes it feels like a Dark Souls kind of game, which apparently a lot of gamers compare even Crash Bandicoot to Dark Souls. Where is this all going? The game also has an issue with materials and all that shit. Besides running around from one place to another and fighting, you'll be constantly being hunting for stuff and managing your inventory. That's just too much. During my gameplay, I've been doing nothing but inventory management and trying to buy better stuff so I can survive longer. During the gameplay, during the story rather, you have choices. Either be smart, kind, or rude. Well, I only chose either between smart and kind. I'm not sure if it actually impacts the story at all. but I only played it once. The side quests are just boring. You go there, you do something, and that's it. Either it's like detective work, or hunting, or a form of fetching, more like rescuing someone. And that's it. And that's kind of the same as with the main story. There are three kinds of main stories. The search for her mother, helping a friend, and finding out what happened to the world. Two of them is actually pretty boring, but finding out how the story goes, that might be interesting. Story time. This, I have mentioned, there are three main stories to it. The search for her mother, the helping a friend, because fuck no, why? Because it's unforgettable. Because it's forgettable. And finding out what happened to the world. And that was actually what keeps me playing this story. This game, rather. I want to know what the fuck happened. And every time I entered this high technology ruins, I'm like, how the fuck does the world end when there are no guns? Yet enemies use guns. This story didn't feel real, it didn't feel believable. But the more I played it, the more I figured out, the more I learned. They explained it, they told me it. At first it was very vague until you finish the story, then it all comes together. Which is, I guess, one good thing, but it's just bad. Coming from a guy that has played BlazBlue, where it's even more complicated, but at least they made more sense than this game. In BlazBlue they used more complicated words. They made a bigger deal, and it was more than just a world. It was about life and existence itself, and multiple universes or whatever. In this game, it's just a world. A world that they don't explain too well. Or rather, how it ended. And the after credits, that makes less sense. But that's my opinion. One last thing about the main story. When you go looking for her mother, that becomes a side thing. When you're helping a friend, it's so forgettable and close by in a sense, around one area. And when it comes to finding out what happened to the world, which is one interesting thing, but it's annoying to do, because you have to go to every little corner of the map. They're not close by each other. They're far apart from each other. If someone can give me a good explanation for that, fair enough, but this game didn't make it. Didn't make sense of it. And the last thing is the DLC. I got there, I played a little bit. I just couldn't be bothered. Once again, they said like, hey, collect these things if you want better stuff. If I want better stuff, I want to buy it with money. Yeah, I couldn't be bothered. I didn't finish it. I don't care. If I should give this a score out of 10, I'd give it a 4. Here's some of the good stuff. The combat is fun. It's really fun. The story on finding out how the world has ended and why they're in this situation. It is a driving force, and that's about it.